But I think the key here is how to go forward, because clearly Wade is off. But I think that this is such a huge body blow, almost a fatal blow to Fani Willis. I think the way forward is she has to voluntarily recuse herself. I don't know that she has it in her, but I think she has to say, I'm going to appoint like a chief assistant who's going to oversee this case. She clearly has no credibility with this judge, and these issues are going to be taken up. The judge invites these issues to be taken up by all sorts of other Georgia regulators, including the Georgia Assembly, the Fulton County Board of Commissioners, the State Ethics Commission. I mean, he lists that. So I think the best thing, if your first interest is the sanctity of this case, which I agree with you, Joe, this is the most important case in Georgia, and of the 4 Trump cases, this may be the most important because it's one that will last regardless of whether Donald Trump wins the presidency or not. If your first interest is this case, I think she needs to remove herself voluntarily and just say someone else is going to oversee this case in Georgia, so that whatever happens to her in terms of ethics, it doesn't taint this case.
Fani Willis should not be allowed to remain on the case. If you want to continue the case itself, ill-fated as though it probably again will be, then get a different person to actually do the prosecuting. Because the people that were in the lead in the prosecution are desperately corrupt. They lied. I mean, imagine you're the judge. Your court is being lied to by the district attorney. It's being lied to by the lead prosecutor on the case. They lie about the relationship. They lie about bills that were paid and funding and things like that. They lied nonstop during their testimony. We know this. We've got plenty of countervailing evidence against them. And yet you still allow that individual on the case as long as they divest themselves of their fuck buddy? It doesn't make a whole lot of sense at all.
And look, even though she's going to stay on the case, all of this, especially this language from the judge, and we're just skimming the opinion right now, I'm sure there's likely more, it's really a gift to former President Trump and his co-defendants, because they're not only going to fight this case on the merits, they fight it in the court of public opinion. Optics here matter. He has tried to undermine trust in the justice system, and if you have a judge who's overseeing a case calling the prosecutor, again, unprofessional, saying that she made a bad decision, she had a lapse in judgment, that is a lot of ammunition for the former president and his co-defendants.
This was a self-inflicted wound that should have been healed and taken care of months ago, but basically they've just let it get infected now to this place where the district attorney has been called by a court that she has to practice in front of, frankly, and her office has to practice in front of. She's been called now unprofessional. And this, frankly, it is a gift to the defense, I believe, as they will use this as they talk about whether or not the case has merit or whether or not it was brought for other reasons, whether or not it's a professional prosecutor and all that. We're going to hear all that down the road. But we're also going to hear, I expect, comments from the Georgia legislature as they have moved forward with their panel inquiry into her conduct. We're going to hear now this finding echoed around the halls of Congress by the likes of, people like Jim Jordan and things like that. So this is not a good day for the state, and it's not a good look for the state. But remember, this could have been remedied as we go through the order now. Mm-hmm. This initial problem and this appearance could have been nipped in the bud. And I don't know why it was left to fester. But now, it's basically caused gangrene of the limb, and the judge is saying, look, we're removing it if we're going forward. And that's where we're at today.
Judge Scott McAfee, you failure. You failure. He really could have tightened up the law in this one thing just by going in and going nuclear on Fani Willis and this whole thing, going, look, this whole thing is dirty. This whole thing, Trump is not going to get justice. This is a scam from the top down. He did not have the balls to stand up like an adult male, and he squished. McAfee, you're a squish. You're what's wrong with the system. You hurt the legal system you claim to protect. You actually ended up protecting the mockery of it. You're a scrub. I got nothing for you, you hack.
But the Georgia Republicans, man, you guys got the power. You guys have supermajorities, man. You guys really need to go after Fani Willis and investigate this woman because she is clearly corrupt. But Scott McAfee, just too cowardly.